Let's talk today about civil disobedience and what are some experiences you might have if you get arrested. I'd like to say I'm not a lawyer, and what I'm telling you is based off my own personal experiences, as well as things I've been told by lawyers. My experiences have all been in the United States. Laws and other experiences vary from country to country. Talking to an activist lawyer in your own country is highly recommended. What is civil disobedience? Civil disobedience is the refusal to comply with certain laws as a peaceful form of political protest. Is civil disobedience an effective tactic for social justice? Well, past social justice movements have used civil disobedience as a crucial tool to force public dialogue and make systemic change. Taking part in nonviolent civil disobedience demonstrates a dedication to your cause through self-sacrifice. It communicates the urgency of the issue, and it inspires other people to take action. In the United States, civil rights movement used civil disobedience to challenge segregation. The sit-ins they did at lunch counters garnered national media attention and inspired sit-ins all across the southern United States. This eventually led to southern restaurants ending their segregation policies. In India, the act of picking up a handful of salt violated the salt taxes and inspired millions of people to take part in civil disobedience all across the country. These simple acts of defiance led to more than 60,000 people being arrested and contributed to the liberation of India from British rule. These are just a few examples that history has shown us of how civil disobedience can be a powerful tool to make social change. Now let's talk about what can be like when you're interacting with the police. There are three main types of police interactions. The first is consensual. This means you're free to leave at any time. For example, if you're walking down the street and a police officer asks you how you're doing, you are under no obligation to stop or to answer. Number two is being detained. This means there is a reasonable and articulable suspicion you have committed a crime. This is up to the officer's discretion, and you may be detained for any reason or no reason at all. Ask if you are being detained and why. You may not get an answer as to why you have been detained, but you should still ask. In this situation, you should identify yourself, but do not answer any questions. This interaction will result in you by either being arrested or released. Answering questions will only give them more information to use to arrest you. And number three, being arrested. You are now in legal custody and will likely be given a citation and told to appear at a later time or taken to jail. Again, do not answer any questions, but please do identify yourself. Upon arrest, the police recommend charges to the district attorney, who makes the decision to file official charges. If charges are filed, you will have to appear in court. Now let's talk about the process of getting arrested. When you are first arrested, if you're taken into custody, you'll be taken to jail or to a police station and go through the booking process. This includes having your fingerprints taken, getting a mugshot, and being told if you're eligible for bail. If you're eligible for bail, you can bail out by paying your bail or hiring a bail bondsman. If you are not eligible for bail or do not wish to bail out, you can wait in jail to see a judge. If you do not bail out, you'll be taken into housing. This is an area of the jail meant for longer-term incarceration. If you're placed into housing, you'll be strip searched, given a jail uniform and a bed. In the United States, you must see a judge for arraignment within 2 business days of being arrested. So this doesn't include weekends or holidays. When you see the judge, they will have 2 situations that can happen. You'll either be released on your own recognizance, which means let go with no bail, with a promise to return to court, or judge will set a final bail, which could be higher or lower or the same as the bail that the police set for you. What are some things that you can do to prepare if you think you might be getting arrested? If you know you might be taking part in a high-risk situation where there's a probability you could get arrested, there's a few things you can do to make sure that if you do get arrested, that you're not so worried about it. If you have anyone who you care for, a companion animal, children, or maybe someone sick or elderly who relies on you for care, make sure that someone else is there to be able to give them the care that they need. Something else that you can do is to write down important phone numbers on your body. So this could include a number for your lawyer, a legal support person, or your family and friends. It can also be a really good idea to request off some time from work, so that if you do end up having to wait, a day or 2 in jail, that you're not missed and not showing up to jobs or things that you're supposed to be at. So make sure to use your phone in a secure way, and that means always locking it with a passcode. So never use a fingerprint or a facial recognition to unlock your phone, because this leaves your phone vulnerable to being searched. When preparing to take action in a high-risk situation, you want to make sure you pack light. Don't bring or wear anything that's not essential to this action. Expensive items can be lost in property or held as evidence for a very, very long time. When you're going into these kind of situations, having a valid ID can help expedite the arrest process and make identifying you easier, which can help you get out of jail faster. Some people's jobs are dependent on them not getting arrested, and this is something you should know before you take this kind of action too, or be okay with the consequence of possibly losing your job. That's not every job, and definitely something that you should look into. And the way that people can be treated by law enforcement or in jail can vary depending on how you're perceived by the rest of the world. So this has a lot of factors to it, like your race, your gender, your class, your age, your ethnicity, or a variable other host of factors. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is, and you just kind of have to prepare yourself for that. Also, be prepared to be in booking for a very long time. It's a very slow process and can take hours. The more people that are arrested with you, the longer it can take. Getting arrested can be really, really scary, especially the first time. In most cases, the worst thing that will happen to you is you'll experience some physical and emotional discomfort and legal fines. If you mentally prepare yourself before you get arrested, it can really help you get through the situation. So just know that you're probably going to be really bored. You could be cold or hot depending on where you're at, hungry, uncomfortable, and treated poorly, treated like a criminal, having your needs ignored, and a bunch of other things that are just pretty much unpleasant. Sometimes the police can act really unprofessionally and be really rude or forceful, and other times they can be very, very nice and almost seem like they're your friend. This is really important to keep in mind because no matter how the police act toward you, it's really important to interact with them in a respectful manner. We always want to remain nonviolent and not answer questions no matter what is happening, even if they're the friendliest person and just asking for the best vegan cupcake recipe. Tell them, they can Google it. They don't need you to tell them. But you still want to remain respectful in that situation. And the same thing if they're being rude or degrading to you in some way, still be respectful. We want them to walk out of the situation looking at us like, wow, I can't believe I arrested that really nice person. They seemed like a good person. It's best if everyone that's taking part in actions like this can agree to remaining nonviolent and respectful to law enforcement before the action begins. And if somebody is in jail with you and they start being disrespectful to the law enforcement or start acting in a negative way, be empowered to call them in and remind them that, they're better than this and that we also all agreed to not act this way. I hope that this helped you understand why civil disobedience can help create social change and what being arrested might be like. Thanks.